Oh, Mercury. So I'm reading this off my phone because I want to address everything because there was a lot of vague and slanderous statements that were just thrown our way. Let me start by saying context and intent is everything. Hence the novel of explanations and video evidence we have provided. Mercury, you abused me. You yelling at me to strip down all the way after I've told you I'm not comfortable multiple times is abuse. You cornering me and physically intimidating me and again yelling at me that no, I have to go down into pasties. It has to be me. It can't be anyone else. That's abuse. That's power of abuse. I was 20 when I first joined the troop. Mercury was 26. You had all the power. This is the first time we've ever felt safe to say your name and actually say Mercury Stardust abused me severely in multiple ways. And I witnessed other abuse happening to other people from Mercury Stardust. And before I even met Mercury Stardust, they were apparently abusing people in similar ways. And now, after us, people are coming forward saying, yeah, even in 2022, that Mercury Stardust was abusing them and still using the same tactics they were using against us. I mean, I want to say I'm shocked by like the blatant lies you're just telling, but this is something you've always done. And Burlesque, who worked very closely with you, they came to me and said that you were actually exploiting them to be in your shows, and that they told me if they said no to you, that they were no longer allowed to be in your shows. Which again, similar to things that you were telling me that if I didn't do X, Y, and Z, I would not be allowed to be in your show, and there would be consequences to face, as you would always say. And again, it's in my statement, it's in the proof, and in other texts. So I don't know where your confusion is and where that lines up. In my statement and in Bridgett's statement, we go through the entire timeline from when we started in the troop to when we left the troop to when we discovered other shit about you that we had no clue about you until after we had left Burlesque, and our intensive therapy we've been very open about in going to and being educated in. What happened at your parents' house on tour, that was abuse. You editing Bridgett is abuse. I witnessed you touch her inappropriately multiple times, and multiple times we just brushed it off because, oh, it's Burlesque, oh, it's probably a slip up, oh, it's Mercury, like obviously she wouldn't mean to do anything like that. And not just Bridgett, other women saying that how you behave backstage, how you talk to them in other environments, that it's made them uncomfortable, to say the least. And you knew exactly how we felt about you leaving the troop because we made it very clear to you, and you were very aware of that. And again, it's all in the statement of like how it happened. It wasn't just a random thing. It was we were fighting and discussing about how you were abusing us and mistreating us, and that we needed to have a face-to-face conversation about it. And you got pissed off because we held a boundary, and you refused to accept that boundary. It's in the video too, of the audio of me crying and asking why, and for like you to explain like what the f is happening. And just now I know it's like, oh, I was never going to get a reason why. There is no reason why. Like you admit, like, excuse me, that is not real. This is what happened. Here's the proof. You just deflect and say, and I quote, it was just your attitude. You can hear yourself screaming and slamming on the coffee table that I insisted be between us because of this. Then in that same meeting, you charged me and almost slammed the door on me. Again, it's all explained about like how intense and like crazy that situation is. It's all explained in the post. And once again, this is not new behavior. You have provided, to say the least, a passive-aggressive work environment. And that's something I'd like to address too. I've already said that that is Mercury's go-to, is try to paint me as a disgruntled ex-worker, where that didn't happen. In your ad, like I said on Mass Stage, you said that it was for a paid gig and a paid troop, and we'd be paid for every performance. And that never happened. You just make up a lie, which we found out from other people that, oh, you were just lying. So I don't know what happened to that money. And you would constantly try to shame us about, it's for art, it's for the love of the art, who cares? Like, stop asking for payment, while then insisting on paying other people, and then preaching about having to pay performers and make sure you're paying good amount of performers while not paying other performers because you're using them. Because I quote, they're new performers. And in 2022, you said you like to use new performers since they are so eager and are willing to do anything for you. And then you go on to talk about how you humiliate this performer on stage and tell them to do meaningless acts. Talk about what you said we did tasteful acts. What number? Like literally, like that's such a blatant lie. That's like, what are you talking about? Saying that you were worried because we were doing inappropriate numbers while we refused to strip all the way for you. Crazy. And then also saying we were the ones who were inappropriate, which again, as late as 2022, you can see Mercury telling people to the floor and that you have to be really vulgar with it, and says it's to humiliate them. Not, again, there's no purpose. It's just because Mercury says they have the power, so they can do whatever they want. Also, the first time I'm hearing is that we were late to rehearsals. Like, that was never a thing. This is new information. Once again, just lying to lie. Actually, there were multiple times where we were waiting outside your place, locked out with all of our stuff, and waiting 30 to 40 minutes because you weren't ready for us, whatever that means. These were all your scheduled events. These were all on your time. I have an email of you yelling at me because I couldn't make one date, and that turned into a huge issue for you because one day I said, oh, that's the only date I can't make, and that turned into a whole thing. Part 2's coming up, so don't worry. We're still getting to all the and slander you said, Mercury. Part 2 of addressing Mercury's lies. So the only thing I can guess that Mercury is reaching for this lateness was, again, addressed in my audio, which again, thank goodness I have, because gaslighting, look up the term. That's what's happening. That's why I have evidence of everything that was going on, because Mercury just lies and just vaguely says, well, you're this and that, therefore nothing you says matters, which no. Even if I was a horrible bitch, I didn't deserve to be abused. I didn't deserve to be exploited and used. My sister didn't deserve to be essayed by you. Other women didn't deserve to be essayed by you. That minor who you said multiple times in that podcast, not just one time, multiple times, that you were with a 15-year-old, and exactly like how that went down. So again, saying that I was late, that was at the tour where, again, I was drugged at your house. That's when you kept changing the time calls. And again, in my videos, I say that. Again, it's a full timeline. There is no like gaps or like, oh, what happened here? It's a full timeline of the events that happened. Context and intent, it matters. It's not just out of the blue. Just like you just leaving wasn't out of the blue. You had your friend delete and remove all the podcast videos you were on, like ever, but you were just on that podcast this year and talking about how you just watched everything and referring to some of those old videos that you were talking about this year. And then you also brought up that you still have footage from like over 12 years ago on a tablet that you apparently used to film us and our shows doing our numbers, but that footage was always mysteriously somehow lost. But apparently in 2024, you somehow still have that tablet and still have video on it from years before we met. Again, what's going on? We also never sent out a hate campaign against you. We only ever talked about our experiences and our truth, and again, anonymously, because we were scared to say anything against you, especially in Burlesque at that time, because, again, as you've said many times, you had so much power and influence over everyone in Burlesque, so who's going to believe what I say? The so-called 6-hour video footage of us is us doing story times of our Burlesque experiences, and in some of those videos, we talk about our experience with Mercury, and some of those are just my abuser, so you've known how we felt about you for years. And then the other videos were storytime YouTube videos in 2017, so we made it more drama, we wore stupid wigs, and we gave them dumb nicknames, like I've already said in my statement about that, and why some of the videos say 2017 audio, because I've already released this footage. It's nothing new. Mercury knows about all this. Another disgusting, slanderous thing that Mercury said was that me calling someone who is a person of color, me calling them coffin in my story time, is because they were doing a vampire burlesque number, and they used a coffin. That's it. So I don't know what the fuck you're trying to say, but that's what that is, Mercury. You've addressed nothing in your statements. You just admitted, yes, I had a romantic relationship with a minor, but everything else, not me. Again, the video footage of everything is there. And even if you read the novella that I've written out, my abuse, and then my twins' own experience of the extensive abuse, even if you're like, well, whatever, they're bitches. Again, that's my statement. Even though all the video evidence still shows Mercury and what they've admitted to being with a minor, groping other women on stage because whatever, having sex with their employees because she was their manager, and that was very important to note. And again, all those videos are from 2013 or earlier, before I knew you, before I knew anything about you, and you acted the exact same way. One of those clips, you said that in high school, you purposely presented yourself as a femme gay person so that you could get with girls, and that you purposely preyed on girls that way. But now you're saying, no, I was just very toxic masculinity, and that's why. Which is it? You're just putting on a bunch of facades and faces? It's also ironic for you to say that, oh, we were mocked, when like, no, we were mocked, and you constantly kept trying to blacklist us, which didn't happen. We went on, again, it's in my statement, we went on and did more shows than ever, and actually got paid for it. Thank you for admitting to stalking us, even after we blocked you, after we realized all the abuse you put us through, and we blocked you from everything and said, no, we don't want anything to do with that, because other people told us you were stalking us too, in person and online. And that's not a pop psych term, that's just what it is. That would be called cyber stalking, which you openly admit to doing a lot, and that's proven. And you also had someone in person stalking us. That's just called stalking. It's not a psych term. It's not a buzzword. It is what it is. And me using correct terms is not my fault if that upsets you. You abused me, you abused Bridgett, and many others. So you trying to act like you didn't and that it was all just a misunderstanding is insane. You saying it's just a disagreement? No. You screaming in my face, standing up, getting in my face, pushing me into a corner, and yelling at me that I have to strip for you. That's not a disagreement. And then continuing to keep doing that. That was a one-time thing. You kept doing that. That's the issue. That's the pattern of abuse. Openly talking about using newcomers in burlesque to make them do weird sexual things for you to perform, though. It's just for performing. Also, just another outright disgusting lie and slander. I'm not transphobic. I've never been transphobic to you or to anyone. To insinuate that I said something the day or week that you came out, that has nothing to do with me. I don't follow you. Unlike you, I'm not online all the time and constantly looking at people's comments and constantly going around and trying to see what people are saying about. It's disgusting and slanderous to say that I'm transphobic or that Bridgett's been transphobic in any shape or form to you or to anyone. Where's your proof? If you're going to say slanderous, there needs to be proof. Like me and how I have a ton of evidence and a page full, and I still have clips I haven't even posted yet of your own words, Mercury, that you've said and still double down on. If you're mad because you're an abusive person and people are calling you out on it, that's on you. We are not the first, and we are not the only people to come out or come forward about things that you have done to them. Also, why is your ex-manager, Maggie, on our page liking comments? The same manager who wrote your book, Safe and Sound, by the Trans Handyman. And I know in this video, I'm coming off as, really sassy and kind of whatever, but this is the first time that I've ever been able to even address Mercury this way. Because, again, in my statement, Mercury enforced me to be their daughter and to play this daughter role for Mercury. Mercury insisted on me and Bridgett referring to them as our parental figure, and Mercury would refer to herself as our parental figure to other people. It wasn't just, oh, we were just kind of co-workers. No, again, it's in the statement. It's in the terms we use are specific and matter for a reason, because that's what happened. And that, again, showing the full context explains and shows exactly how it happened. It also shows that it's been happening, and again, a long pattern of abuse that hasn't stopped. Thank you for finally respecting one of our boundaries and removing that photo from 2015 that we asked since the beginning, since we worked with you, not to post pictures of us. Again, it's in Bridgett's statement and the poster that you took and the photo of her that you took and then had manipulated to look like a bondage photo, which then turned out to be a secret fetish of yours. Again, you said that and have been open about it. And so then you had her photo manipulated, edited like that. She didn't even have to say because you just said, oh, it's a gift to you. And if she explained, like she said before in all the screenshots, please don't post photos of me. It makes me uncomfortable. So then you said, cool, let me send you even more and make a poster of you and print it and do it all in secret and then just present it and say, well, we can't do anything now because I've already spent all this money to do it. Once we said bye, then Mercury and the Weeba cult, thank you for finally calling it what it was, Mercury, Bridgett reached out and said, again, remove every photo of me in video content. I've never consented to it. I've never okayed it. It happens in burlesque all the time. People remove it because they're not weird about other people's intimate content. And Bridgett had to jump through so many hoops to get that photo taken down because even your Weeba members, who they even said, oh, this isn't a democracy, this is all Mercury. So it's in text. Even they were like, no, we can't remove this photo. No, we can't remove this photo. In 2018, this was still going on. And then finally, after reaching out and finding the artist and reaching out to them, the artist quickly took it down without an issue. There's so many hoops to jump through because why should Bridgett have any autonomy over her own body? Right, Mercury? So from Tap It, the show that you essayed Bridgett in, and again, is in our statements about how that went down. But, you can just make up lies and slander, right, Mercury? And to everyone who has actually taken the time to read through both statements and then gone through the video evidence and understands the context and everything that we've shown and put work into doing and explaining our abuse and our story, which again is hard for every survivor. So thank you to everyone who's been really supportive. Again, we tried coming out before about this and we were mocked, victim blamed, told this shouldn't be out in the public. It's Mercury's truth. She can do whatever she wants to you. If it was so bad, you should have just left. Again, that's all explained in my statement. So for everyone who actually gets it and understands what's going on and sees things for what they are, thank you for believing me and showing your support to survivors and victims of abuse. Because that's also a huge reason why we're coming out, is because it's important for abuse survivors to come out and share their experience and share their stories to show other survivors and victims that this behavior is not okay, it's not acceptable, and it will no longer be tolerated. We're not tolerating this kind of behavior anymore. Abuse is genderless. Anyone can be abused. Anyone can be a victim. Thank you for the support.